The Candy Seller's Secret. Chapter 1. The Street and the Suit. It was a warm afternoon in downtown São Paulo. The streets buzzed with the sound of cars, bus engines, and impatient horns echoing against tall glass buildings. Amid the chaos of the city, a young woman stood on the corner of Avenida Paulista, her eyes bright despite the exhaustion written on her face. Her name was Isabella. She couldn't have been more than 25. Dressed in a faded floral dress and worn sandals, she carried a small box filled with candy, colorful, sweet, and cheap. She walked from car to car during red lights, offering them with a smile that seemed too kind for such a cruel world. "Candy for a good day, sir?" she asked gently, her voice almost drowned by the traffic. Most people ignored her. Some rolled up their windows, others waved her away, but she never lost her composure. There was a quiet dignity in the way she smiled at rejection, whispered a thank you, and moved on to the next car. And then, that day, he appeared. A sleek black Mercedes stopped at the front of the line. The tinted windows slid down, revealing a man in a sharp-tailored suit, golden cufflinks gleaming in the sunlight. His wristwatch alone could buy a year's worth of candy boxes. His name was Alexander Montero, the youngest self-made millionaire in the city, known for his arrogance and charm. The tabloids called him the King of Luxury. He called himself a man who built everything from nothing. When Isabella approached, she didn't recognize him. She only saw another face, another chance to sell a small candy. "Good afternoon, sir. Would you like to buy one?" Alexander turned his head slowly, his cold brown eyes scanning her from head to toe. He gave a short, disdainful laugh. "Candy?" he repeated mockingly. "You really think people in this car need candy from the street?" Her smile faltered. I just thought maybe you could make a few coins off pity." He cut her off sharply. "Don't waste your time, girl. People like me don't need people like you." The light turned green. He pressed the accelerator and drove away, leaving behind the faint scent of expensive cologne and humiliation. Isabella stood still for a moment, her heart sinking, the candies trembling in her hand. Then she whispered softly, as if speaking only to herself, "Everyone needs sweetness, sir, even those who think they don't." She wiped a tear before it could fall and continued walking. Chapter 2. The mirror cracks. Days passed. Alexander forgot the girl entirely. To him, she was nothing more than a fleeting inconvenience on a crowded street. But fate, cruel, poetic fate, had other plans. One night, at a charity gala in one of São Paulo's most luxurious hotels, Alexander arrived wearing his custom-made suit, his hair slicked back perfectly. Cameras flashed as he greeted investors and models. Champagne flowed like water, and then, amid the laughter and luxury, something caught his eye. A young woman was helping serve the guests, carrying a tray of hors d'oeuvres, smiling politely, moving with quiet grace. There was something hauntingly familiar about her face. It was Isabella. For a moment, he thought he was imagining things. But no. Those same eyes, that same soft expression, the same quiet strength. Only now she wasn't on the street. She wore a simple black uniform, her hair neatly tied back, her presence humble yet magnetic. "Excuse me," he said, walking toward her. What are you doing here?" She turned, startled. Recognition flickered in her gaze, followed by that same mixture of sadness and dignity. "I'm working, sir," she replied calmly. "Just doing my job." He frowned. "Selling candy didn't work out." Her jaw tightened. "No. But at least this time, people don't drive away when I speak." Alexander smirked, unbothered by her tone. "You have quite a mouth for a waitress." She met his eyes steadily. "And you have quite a heart for a millionaire." The words hit him harder than he expected. Before he could answer, someone called his name from across the room. He turned, annoyed, and when he looked back, she was gone. That night, for the first time in years, Alexander couldn't sleep. Her voice echoed in his head. Chapter 3. The Hidden Truth. The next morning, Alexander sat in his office, high above the city, staring out at the endless skyline. He should have felt satisfaction. He had money, power, influence. Yet something gnawed at him, something small but persistent. Her words. "And you have quite a heart for a millionaire." He could not shake them. Something about her tone. Something familiar. Compelled by curiosity, he began searching through old family documents, company archives, and even private records he rarely touched. There was a strange, almost obsessive determination in him, an urge to understand why her face haunted him so. Hours passed. Shadows grew long across his mahogany desk, and the city outside turned golden with the late afternoon sun. And then he found it, a folder he hadn't opened in years, labeled simply, "Adoption Records, 1995. With trembling hands, he opened it. Inside were photographs, birth certificates and letters, documents from the orphanage where he had spent the first few months of his life. And then he saw her, a baby girl, bright eyes, soft curls, and next to her, a note from the orphanage director. Twin sibling of Alexander Montero, separated at birth for adoption purposes. Alexander froze. The air in the room felt suddenly heavy, as if it had been holding its breath for decades. Could it be? Could the girl on the street, the candy seller, really be his sister? Chapter 4. Confrontation and Confession. He didn't know where to begin. Questions overwhelmed him. How could he have humiliated her without knowing she was family? How could fate be so cruel and yet so precise? By the next day, Alexander had tracked her down. Isabella was at a small community center, handing out candy to neighborhood children. Her smile was genuine, the same one he remembered. He approached cautiously. She looked up, startled. "Alexander," she said, as if she had expected him. He swallowed hard. "Isabella, there's something I need to tell you. Something important." She tilted her head, studying him carefully. "I think I already know," she said softly. Confusion clouded his mind. "Know what?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached into her bag and pulled out a folded piece of paper. On it were photos of them as babies, side by side, and a copy of the orphanage record. Alexander's hands shook as he took the papers. This can't be real. We're twins," she finished. Her voice trembled, but there was no anger, only a deep, quiet sorrow. "You humiliated me when I was just trying to survive." Alexander sank into a nearby chair, guilt washing over him like a tidal wave. I had no idea I was cruel. I don't even have words. Isabella looked at him, her eyes glistening. "It doesn't matter what you did back then. What matters is what we do now. Are you going to let this hatred, this arrogance define us, or are we going to build something together?" For the first time in his life, Alexander felt truly small. And yet, within that smallness, a strange, liberating warmth emerged. I want to make things right," he said finally. Her smile returned, this time unguarded and bright. "Then let's start from the beginning, brother.